I'm Margaret of Rivers Alliance in Connecticut, and I know some of you. Off and on over the years, we've been down here quite a bit. I think, Mary, I first met you in connection with the formation of the Middle River Watershed Association and the question of a registered diversion held by the Regional Water Authority. Those grandfathered rights to take large amounts of water are still an issue, and an issue identified but not solved in the state water plan. I was also on the Quinnipiac River Fund, so some of the work you're talking about, it's really exciting to see. It's just getting better and better. And that's very pleasing. We do also help with the small grants, Watershed Assistance Small Grants Program. There'll be another one coming up. We have helped with the West River. We've helped Mary with a couple of things. So I would say always check our website and or just call. You all are quite good at dealing with your local officials, and Mary helps you deal with the state. But keep that up. There are different places you can go. There's a water planning council where citizens can come in. Sometimes, if it's a pollution, well, there's deep. But the interaction at the state level to groups at your level is extremely important. From my point of view, I came here today and was looking at a couple of things that I'm learning here. The state is now updating its water quality standards, which are the standards that will be used in all its permits for water use. And I'm looking at the contaminants that you put up a sign on that and thinking, are all those ones in the water quality standards? We ought to check that out. Mary's shaking her head. Maybe we need to do a little work on that. I'm learning that here. Another thing is the disinfection period. They're going to deep plans in water quality standards to extend the period in which sewage plants do disinfection. When I first came here, almost 20 years ago, it was really, once the weather was at all cool, the disinfection stopped. It's been extended. I don't know if anyone remembers what it is now, what they're proposing to do, maybe November to April, something like that. They'll stop the disinfection. We're advocating for disinfection year-round. One thing I learned here when I was with the Quinnipiac River Fund is that people are out on this river all year round. And they're either walking, or they have their dogs, or they might be boating, sometimes recklessly. But there may be sewage in the river or inadequately treated water. So those are things where, when I visit you, I think, okay, we need to emphasize these points. We need to look at the pollutants they've identified, and we need to benefit from coming to you. I can tell you that legislators, other than Mary, normally do not take the lead on environmental issues. They wait to hear from you what you like, what you want, what you care about, and it's important to make your wishes known. The state water plan arose from citizens in the Farmington River Watershed Association, and in that watershed objecting strongly to the idea with their big utility, the Metropolitan District Commission, sending water all the way across the state to Yukon. We've been talking about a water plan for years. The Water Planning Council was founded in 2001, but it hadn't done any water planning. So in 2014, with an uprising of citizens going to the legislature, getting press, we did get legislation to do a state water plan, which has just been finished about a year ago. It went to the legislature last year. I'll tell you that it's a 600-page plan. It was done in something of a rush. There's lots and lots of data. It has, to my mind, two important things in it. It clarifies that when you're talking about water stresses or drought or water needs, you have to be looking at the natural streams, not just the water supply going to people's homes. So that was an important point for environmentalists to establish. And in the other, it does a very good job of identifying the problems that we have, which include those registered rights to take water. But it doesn't really propose anything to do about it. On the other hand, that's where in the future going forward, you can participate. Elisa Sharamut, who's here, is the co-chair of the Water Planning Council Advisory Group, and they're working on the plan implementation. So if there's something in the plan you want to see done, make your voices known. The plan went to the legislature last year, but in the final months, you may have heard, in response to comments, the consultant added a true statement that in Connecticut, water is a public trust resource. This caused immediate uproar and controversy with two of the senators, the president of the Senate and the majority leader, the senators writing to the Water Planning Council saying, take that out. You cannot have in a water plan a reference to water as a public trust resource. Really, that contention, that bone of contention, continues to be a problem today. I don't think it's really so much referencing the statute, which is the Connecticut Environmental Protection Act. It's the general feeling that water is becoming more and more valuable. Water companies count this as an asset. They don't want to lose control of a drop. They don't want to hear that water is being held in trust for someone not them. So that difficulty with the plan caused it to sink last year. There was some negotiation and a compromise, and again, Alicia worked on that. The compromise looked to be adequate about the public trust, but in fact it only lasted about 3 hours before it was killed. The plan is back in the legislature this year. Mary's going to get it through, right? It's back there. The way it is written, if it is not positively affirmed by the legislature in 2 years from the first time it went in, which was a year ago, it goes to the governor's desk. So people are working on it, but people are kind of not working on it. And I've heard various ideas of how it might be approved by the legislature or not. But it's really unsure what will happen, except that it's very unlikely that nothing may happen. But in the end, either the legislature is going to act or it's going to go to the governor, and we'll be outside his door saying, don't you love water? And when you were running, we could remember when you were running and wanted us all to endorse you. You said you loved the water plan and you loved the public trust. So that's the direction that we're moving. We really need help from citizens. When we were working on this plan, I said for Rivers and Lives, our goal is it should not be legal in Connecticut to pump a river dry. It is legal for water companies to have wells right along a river and to pump them dry. The most famous case probably was in Yukon, the Fenton River, but Coppermine Brook we have right up in Bristol and in Britain, and we have not made progress on that. There is no protection for stream flow from pumping. If a diverter, it doesn't have to be a utility, it might be a farm or a golf course. If they have a registration to pump 1 million gallons a day, it doesn't matter if there isn't 1 million gallons a day in that river, they can pump anyway until the river's dry, and we have seen that. So we still have that same goal for the water plan. I'm hoping that we will advance, that the plan will go through. It's an important foundation from which to work. It would be an embarrassment and a setback if we could not get through such a cautious, prudent plan and at least get that adopted by the state and start to work on the problems that should be implemented. I apologize for my voice. I woke up in the night with the flu or something. I thought, I'm never going anywhere tomorrow. But I did come out, but I'm a little wobbly here. So that's about it. I'd be happy to answer questions, or maybe Mary or Alicia could add to that.
Well, thank you for being here, even though you feel lousy, first of all.
It's better than I did at 4 in the morning.
Okay. There are 4 committees that would have to approve it. We could probably get it out of 3, but the Energy and Public Utilities Committee chairman has already said, I cannot get it out of our committee. The utilities dominate that committee, and they're gonna strangle it. So, and it needs all 4, we think, although our attorney says you might not need any committees, you could maybe have it done on the floor, go straight to the floor and do it. But
Right, I heard of another idea also, which would be the leadership certifying it perhaps as an emergency,
Yep.
but that struck me as quite clever. This plan was written so that if any single legislature didn't like it, it has to be passed by 4 committees. It's not even a bill. It has the most difficult barriers to get over of anything I've ever worked on. 4 committees, well, not unanimously, maybe 3, and you have a majority. The lawyers differ, but it's going to be a push, and it's going to be energy and technology. If they're not on board, we'll see. Maybe Mary's figured out a way to avoid that. But in the statute, it looks like the 4 committees have to approve the plan. 4 committees of cognizance, by the way, are environment, public health, the energy and technology, and planning and development. Did I get those right? So a lot of very opinionated people with strong believers in not taking any water away from anyone that has it now.